After about roughly 3 years of warning its viewers not to trust the deep state or any of the United States intelligence agencies, uh, something interesting happened over at Fox News. Take a look.
It's so interesting that people are critical of the president's decisions, of our intelligence community's decisions, our generals' decisions.
They want details.
General Tata said, well, they can't have it. Everything can't be made public. We heard Pompeo over the weekend saying everything that we have, the intelligence community has. He said, I ran the CIA at one point. We can't release everything. We can't release all of our intelligence information. We'll release as much as we can, but you just have to trust us, basically.
Hey, you just have to trust us, basically. And Fox News is ironically saying, or unironically saying, yeah, you should absolutely trust these intelligence sources that we have told you over the past 3 years not to trust. Because, it involves bombing Iran, and people in the Middle East. So obviously we must trust them every time it comes to either bombing brown people or, in this case, Persians in Iran. Doesn't matter. Trust them then, but not when they actually have evidence against Donald Trump. Okay, I see what's going on here. Again, this is, look, the airstrike already happened, by the way, right? Now, what would be the harm in releasing any sort of evidence that they might have of that imminent strike that was allegedly thwarted? Well, it turns out because they never had any evidence to begin with. And of course, that's why the administration is now backing off and saying, but it turns out we didn't actually have any evidence that there's going to be an imminent strike. But, we assumed that it was going to happen sometime. So we just had to go and assassinate the leader of Iran or a military leader in Iran. Yeah. Again, same network that says don't trust intelligence. They're part of the deep state. By the way, this is the same intelligence agencies that lied to us when it came to Iraq, and surprise, surprise, they're lying to us about Iran. So now let's get back to Fox hypocrisy here. So now let me give you an example of or at least one example of the rhetoric that Ainsley Earhardt herself had talked about the deep state. Let's take a look.
They just are out of touch with reality.
What is it? Is it the deep state? Are they just anything that a conservative does? They want to go after their love life
and their livelihood and their
money, their children.
Hey man, look, deep state going after Donald Trump and conservatives all the time, unless of course we want a war, in which then that helps us, that helps conservatives because we love war, endless war, bombing brown people. And of course, the money that defense contractors give us. So we absolutely love war. Wonderful. No, again, anything against Trump, and that is the common thread here, right? When it came to the Mueller report, when it came to the FBI investigating whether or not Donald Trump had colluded with a foreign power, right? Which, look, you can have an argument on that. I'm not going to go in on the Russiagate stuff. But look, there was some compelling evidence that Trump had, at the very least, obstructed justice in that. And that is that's an impeachable offense, right? Where, hey, look, even if there's nothing like criminal that they would find, the fact that Donald Trump had obstructed justice in this at least 10 times in the Mueller report, well, that's problematic, right? Now, Fox hosts, of course, rejected it. The Democrats, by the way, Nancy Pelosi, also, they just kind of forgot about it. And they're like, well, it doesn't really help us politically now. Well, wait a minute. Obstruction of justice is obstruction of justice. You could have added it into the articles of impeachment, but no, can't do that. Got to play it super safe because we're Democrats and we suck at this. Shocker, right? But look, the same intelligence community makes it, when they make a case for war, they love it. The FBI, CIA, we love them again. Oh my God, they're so wonderful. It's almost as if they care about war more than anything else. And by the way, there's a reason progressives are distrustful of intelligence agencies. It's because we don't want to end up into another war that we were lied into. Again, Iraq. Oh, they've got weapons of mass destruction. They're working with Al-Qaeda. They're going to attack the United States. They're going to attack the mainland. None of that was true. And when asked for proof during the or before the invasion of Iraq, Condoleezza Rice, who's our Secretary of State, she said, "We don't want the smoking gun to be a mushroom cloud." Jesus. Not only that, you guys remember the Afghanistan papers? Those just came out, got very, very little media coverage. The press basically ignored it, did not pay any attention to it. But it told us that the government had been lying about the case for Afghanistan. But when it comes to war, mainstream media and conservatives, they will do anything that they can to gin up war, to beat the war drums. But when it comes to the truth, the fact that we have been lied to by our government when it came to Afghanistan, when it came to Iraq, and now Iran, crickets, silence, absolute silence. And now, again, since they're part of the media establishment as well, the galaxy brain geniuses at Fox News say that, no, you can trust the government on this one because, they're right about this one. Unless, of course, they say bad things about Donald Trump, then we shouldn't trust him at all. So now let me give you some more examples here. This is from Sean Hannity. He said, remember, Sean Hannity is someone who has been railing against the deep state, again, for 3 years. He said, quote, just recently, the ability of the military, our intelligence community, the State Department, and the president making the call very quickly, understood that the Iranian forces on the ground bore a direct threat to the American people. Notice how he said the American people, not the American soldiers, right? Which, yes, they definitely could be a threat to the American soldiers sitting there, as our soldiers are over there, not here. Iranian soldiers are not sitting here. They're not sitting in Mexico. They're not sitting in Canada. They don't actually have a direct threat to the American people here at home. Now, there are, of course, civilian contractors, but Iran has specifically stated, if you want to believe them, that, hey, look, we're not going to target civilians. What are we, the United States? No, we're not going to do that. And the reason I say that is because President Trump himself has said, oh, no, here's what we're going to do. We're going to target the terrorist families. We're going to target civilians because we don't care anymore. There are no rules anymore. We're going to take the gloves off. That's what Trump said. So, yes, he said he is targeting civilians. And what does that do for terrorism? That actually increases terrorism. Jesus, man, a complete hypocrisy. So not at all true what Sean Hannity said. He also said this, quote, I would say the big headline is, this is a huge victory for American intelligence, a huge victory for our military, a huge victory for the State Department, and a huge victory and total leadership by the president. Again, Sean Hannity, same guy, talked about for the last 3 years how the deep state's trying to take down Donald Trump. What happened? What happened? Another example, Pete Hegseth, right? Not just Pete Hegseth, Stuart Varney, all praising Donald Trump, the Pentagon, and yes, U.S. intelligence, not long after they had railed against, of course, our American intelligence, right? You also have former Trump advisor, Christian Whitten, who said this, quote, really sad that Democrats aren't willing to give our president and our military the benefit of the doubt in a crisis, again, based on manufactured intelligence. What happened? Suddenly all these Fox hosts are pro-deep state because they are pro-war. Now, there is one exception to this, and that, ironically, is Geraldo Rivera. And look, I give him some credit for this one, for saying the strike was a terrible, terrible idea, and for calling out the intelligence agencies for lying us into Iraq. This happened last week, but here's the video so you can watch again.
And I don't know if you heard, but this isn't about his resume of blood and death. It is about what was next. We stopped the next attack.
It was preemptive.
That's what I think you're missing.
According to the Secretary of State.
And so we should allow the next attack?
By what credible source can you predict what the next Iranian move would be?
The Secretary of State and American intelligence provided that material.
Yeah, they've been excellent. They've been excellent. The U.S. intelligence has been excellent since 2003 when we invaded Iraq, disrupted the entire region for no real reason. Don't for a minute start cheering this on. What you have done, what we have done, we have unleashed.
I will cheer it on.
We have, all
I
right,
will
well,
cheer it on. I am
like
elated.
Lindsey Graham,
I'm
have never
elated.
met a war you didn't like.
And that's it. That last part. You've never met a war you didn't like. Well, most conservatives are exactly the same. They cannot wait to get into another conflict, to get into another disastrous war in the Middle East, as long as it helps Donald Trump. And it again shows that they have ignored everything from the past. What happened in these wars in the Middle East? Not only Iraq but Afghanistan as well. They don't care because you know what? To them, war is money. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm gonna have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.